Celtic are supposedly blowing Rangers out of the water after a £140 million revelation has come to light. We will discuss this in today's video, whilst going over all the latest Celtic news from the last 24 hours.
But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content.
With supporter groups set for a meeting with the Celtic board on Monday night, there's finally a window to move from noise to solutions. Beyond recruitment and communications, a running sore for matchgoers is the presentation and day-to-day upkeep of the stadium. A Celtic World Order walk-round this week highlighted dozens of basic issues. Here are practical, costed-first discussion points the board should be prepared to tackle. Supporters pay for memorial stars and bricks and expect them to be legible and cared for. Agree a rolling cleaning and restoration plan, publish the schedule, and set SLAS for repairs to broken or missing plaques. Commit to monthly housekeeping walks for signage, sticker residue, damaged panels, and loose cabling around all stands with a public log of fixes. The statues matter. Put in place a routine clean preserve cycle for Billy McNeil, Brother Walfred, and Jimmy Johnstone, and say when it happens. Fans can see steel repainting is underway, but nobody's been told what's next. Publish a simple timeline, which elevations are being treated, when wraps come down, when new ones go up, and what the new design brief is, icons, history, current squad, or a blend. If sections must stay bare during works, remove torn panels entirely rather than leaving half-finished sightlines. Holding UEFA presses in a pop-up tent is beneath the club's stature. Either refit an indoor space permanently or install a high-grade modular suite with proper utilities, heating, and AV. Put a date on when the temporary gazebo is gone. Matchday experience in the North Old Stand needs a minimum standard, warm running water, upgraded toilets, brighter lighting, and modern serving points. If full redevelopment isn't on the cards, commit to a phased concourse refresh across the season and publish the order of works. Dull concrete is a canvas going to waste. Partner with supporter artists, e.g. the muralists already used inside, to create permanent murals along the North Stand, underpass, and tunnel approaches. Low cost, high impact. There's space, use it. Create a plan to activate the footprint on match days. Affordable fan zones with food, music, retail, and kids areas to keep spend on site. If a hotel/museum is off the table, consider a modular fan house. Explain the new away end staircase/railworks and any further safety/access upgrades planned this season. Commit to clearer wayfinding and refreshed entrance areas. Kerrydale access, sports bar frontage. Publish a simple stadium care plan, budget line, timelines, milestones, and a named operations lead who reports quarterly. Fans don't expect miracles, they want proof of momentum. Supporters see record profits and a tightening matchday experience. Even if major expansion isn't viable, commit a defined annual percentage of operating profit to visible stadium improvements and show it was spent. This meeting can't be another listening exercise. Arrive with drawings, dates, and costs, and leave with a joint communique. What's being fixed by when, how supporters will be updated, and how fan groups can feed into the new wrap/mural designs. If Celtic want to rebuild trust, start with world-class basics at Paradise. Now for the main story, as Celtic's latest interim financial report paints a picture of a club that's peerless at home but still wrestling with how to turn financial dominance into footballing progress. The figures for the year ending the 30th of June 2025 are staggering by Scottish standards. The club reported record revenues of £143.6 million, a rise of 15.2% on the previous year, with profits after tax reaching £33.9 million. By the end of the reporting period, cash reserves stood at £77.3 million, numbers untouchable in Scotland. Football finance expert Kieran Maguire points out that Celtic's income now sits between £40 million and £50 million higher than Rangers, and as much as 7 times greater than clubs such as Aberdeen or Hearts. Compared to teams like St Mirren or Kilmarnock, the gulf widens further, with Celtic generating around 25 to 30 times their revenue. That financial gap has grown from a chasm into a canyon. Yet for all the boardroom success, the numbers raise an awkward question. How much of this wealth is being used to improve the team? Over the same period, Celtic's net transfer spend was just £7 million, with £31.5 million brought in from player sales. The balance sheet looks healthy, but for many supporters, the sense remains that the club is too cautious, hoarding cash rather than investing it in genuine quality. Maguire described the situation as a bit of a paradox. Celtic's interim financial report is record-breaking for a Scottish club. They're making £40 to £50 million more than Rangers, 6 or 7 times the likes of Hearts or Aberdeen, and up to 30 times that of St Mirren or Kilmarnock. By Scottish standards, it's an incredible achievement, but south of the border, Celtic generate less money than Brentford, even with Champions League football. Unless they perform spectacularly this season, they're unlikely to match these revenues next year. Still, from a cost control point of view, the profits are amazing. Celtic have made profits in 10 of the last 12 years. If you'd bought shares 4 or 5 years ago, you'd be delighted. But despite these results, the share price hasn't moved. Investors are wondering what Celtic's next step actually is. That question goes beyond investors. 10 profitable seasons out of 12 is extraordinary, but it fuels a familiar debate among supporters. Are Celtic now too content to dominate domestically while standing still in Europe? With Champions League football already off the table this season and Europa League progress far from guaranteed, the tension between prudence and ambition feels sharper than ever. The club's financial base is rock solid, the model is sustainable, but stability alone doesn't stir the blood. The challenge now for the Celtic board is to turn those headline profits into a team capable of making headlines of its own on the pitch. In other news, Brendan Rodgers and his Celtic side are under intense pressure heading into Sunday's clash with Motherwell after Hearts snatched a dramatic injury time winner in the Edinburgh derby to move 5 points clear at the top of the Scottish Premiership on Saturday night. The Gorgie outfit's 1-0 victory over Hibs has changed the mood entirely ahead of the Champions match at Celtic Park. What was already a must-win fixture has now taken on an even greater sense of urgency. If Celtic fail to pick up 3 points against an unbeaten Motherwell side, the champions could find themselves adrift early in the season, and that simply won't sit well with supporters already voicing frustration at recent performances. A goalless draw against Hibs last weekend and a limp defeat to Braga in Europe have left Rodgers facing fresh questions. The atmosphere around the club has turned tense, with fans demanding a reaction and consistency from a squad that still hasn't found its rhythm. Now, with Hearts stretching their advantage and Derek McInnes enjoying his start, Celtic can't afford another slip. Tony Bloom and his cohorts will be quietly thrilled with how things are going and the inertia at Celtic Park. If the pressure wasn't already glaring ahead of Sunday, it sure is now. Anything less than victory against Motherwell will crank the temperature even higher around Celtic Park.
What do you think of what we discussed in today's video? Let us know down in the comment section below. Make sure you've liked this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.